Boys, holy smokes, there's been so much NFL news these past couple of days regarding player extensions, releases, trades. I'm going to be going over a few of those. If you guys do enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Just when you think football news is dead, huh? So many trades and releases and some retirements. I wonder what's going on. I mean, is it due to cap space deadline, or there has to be some sort of deadline as to why so many things are happening within such a short amount of time. So first of all, I'm going to start off in like a sequential order, kind of as much as I possibly can to keep on track with that. So first news, we have Deebo Samuel going to the Commanders. He obviously was unhappy with his role at the Niners. The Niners are kind of at this, are we rebuilding? Are we, kind of in limbo with this whole situation with that they have going on right now, because they were clearly in win now mode, and now not so much, right? They're kind of like, we kind of set ourselves back a couple years. Not just because the quarterback situation, the situation with McAfee, they signed Ayuk to a big contract. Nick Bosa is getting older. Trent is getting older. I mean, there's not a lot of hope for them as far as immediate future goes. I think Debo saw a good quarterback within Jaden Daniels. Scary Terry, Zach Ertz had a resurgence with them as well. I mean, it's a good move for him. The Niners got a 5th round pick, not great, kind of cheap. So I'm sure it's one of those deals where they're like, hey, Debo, we love you so much. We're going to let you pick where you want to go, and we're going to get as much compensation as we can for you. So I think it's a good move on the Niners. That's kind of what I think. I hope that was the case, because Debo did do a lot for the Niners. So that's first news, right? Second big news we have is Sean McVay made a surprise appearance on the Pat McAfee show. This one's weird because you don't ever see Sean McVay too much into this like news reporter stuff unless it's like ESPN, or he's kind of, in regular press conferences for the Rams. So this one was surprising for me to see. Obviously, Puka Nacua is a regular on the Pat McAfee show, phenomenal show. If you guys do not know it, you guys should go watch it. It's great. I think Pat's a phenomenal, kind of brings that like in the basement with your boys type beat, right? I think it's phenomenal. I love the way he does it. Obviously, he started with YouTube. He signed a deal with ESPN. They do a part of the show on ESPN, then they kind of take it away because of the language. They don't have any much restriction on the language, so they do like a disclaimer of, hey, if you're watching the show, there might be some cuss words, there might be some talk that you might not like. But Sean McVay comes on and he starts talking about Matthew Stafford. I'm not going to play the video because for obvious reasons, copyright and whatnot, but obviously he says the end goal was always for Matthew Stafford to end up with the Rams. There was never a thought in his mind to say, hey man, Matthew might go. Obviously a possibility, but nothing Sean McVay was super concrete of like, hey, Matthew Stafford might leave. Obviously he had a situation where he talked about with Jared Goff when he didn't like the way he handled it. So he talked about how he had more of a, hey, Matthew Stafford and I are super close. I want to continue to keep that conversation going with him, man to man, eye to eye. Talk about like, hey, we want to do it this way. This is what you want. Obviously, more open with the conversations, right? So that was super cool to see. Next up, we have not a super surprising one, but we saw the Jets release Davante Adams. He obviously, a lot of people are talking about like him and Aaron Rodgers are going to be a package deal, because obviously we're expecting for the Jets to also release Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers probably going to like the Giants or the Raiders, somewhere where he could have a new start, somewhere where he can actually get some playing time with a good team. A lot of people are speculating Davante Adams to maybe go back to the Packers with Jordan Love and that young squad. Not a bad shout. Not 100% sure though. A lot of teams would be very lucky to have him. I think he has a big contract that is owed and due to be paid, so that's something that might deter teams from signing him, but that's another one big news. Next up, we have the Eagles. Some interesting releases from the Eagles. First off, they released James Bradberry. A lot of people from the Eagles fan base were looking for this to happen. They were not happy with his play. They also got rid of Darius Slay. I don't have this one on there, but they also did get rid of Darius Slay. Obviously, an older corner. They have these young guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Next up, we have the Bengals place another franchise on T. Higgins. That is now 2 years in a row. He's been with them his whole career. So pretty unfair as far as the Bengals go, but that's pretty much classic Cincinnati, right? They have a great talent. They're not 100% sure. They're not sure if they can do it again. Maybe this is one of those times where they're like, hey, we want to pay Jamar Chase so much money, we can't afford you to a long-term deal. Obviously, Jamar Chase, Triple Crown winner, won pretty much every accolade that a wide receiver could win in a regular season outside of winning a Super Bowl. So a very similar year that Cooper Kupp had. So T. Higgins franchise tagged again for $25 million. This also doesn't mean he can't be traded, because there is a likelihood he is mad about it. He can get traded away to somebody that would appreciate him more. And then here's a Darius Slay one like I was talking about earlier. Next up, we have Saquon Barkley, re-signed an extension. This is not a surprising one because Saquon Barkley earned his spot. He earned the right to get paid more money. Howie Roseman and the Eagles are doing well by their players that play well. They pay the right guys. Obviously, you saw James Bradbury and Darius Slay get cut earlier. I think A.J. Brown might be on that list as well. But Saquon is somebody that they're like, hey, man, we want you here. We want you to continue to be a focal point for our offense, which he was, right? I think they ran the ball almost twice as much as they did passing the ball. Next up, we have Christian Kirk. He got released, or he's getting released, planned to get released. Brian Thomas Jr. obviously had a big year last year, so as a rookie, so it might be time for him to find a spot where they're like, hey, I want to go to a winner, somebody that's like a Super Bowl contender, a playoff contender. The Jaguars just haven't been as good. You had some injuries to Trevor Lawrence. Etienne was kind of lackluster last year. Brian Thomas is obviously doing great. The Jaguars just have a lot of things to figure out, as well as coaching too. I think they've had so much great success with coaches. Next up, not so surprising, DK Metcalf requests a trade from the Seahawks. Not happy with his role. You saw a resurgence of Jackson Smith and Jigba. He had a phenomenal year, kind of put DK on the back burner. You saw a lot more plays getting done with like Bobo and Tyler Lockett, which also got released today. So yeah, I would love to see DK Metcalf with a Chargers, maybe the Rams, maybe the Raiders. He kind of fits the bill of a Raiders player, right? Kind of rough around the edges, kind of tough, complains a lot. Then we have, like I said, Tyler Lockett getting released. Sam Hubbard, interesting one. Sam Hubbard retires from the NFL after 7 years. He played his whole football career in Ohio. Super cool to see. Loyal guy, phenomenal player. I thought he had one of his better years, but obviously he had like outshined by Trey Hendrickson. But retired early, 7-year career. It's kind of average, right? Sad to see, but it is what it is. Then you have the Raiders signing an extension with Max Crosby, the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. 3-year deal, $106 million, $91.5 of those $1 million are guaranteed. Crazy news. I thought Max would go to a contender. He seemed pretty unhappy with his role at the Raiders, or just the Raiders as a whole. But I think he has so much faith in Tom Brady and what Tom Brady is going to be able to do. So he might just give it a year and then get traded next year, right? So I think that's the main reason, because I definitely was one of those people that saw him going to like the Lions or the Packers or somewhere that he was needed or could be a super pivotal piece in a team. He is one of those players. He's a game changer, but he did obviously re-sign with the Raiders. Then we have some interesting news. I didn't see this one coming. Tank Dell, he's going through a ACL injury surgery. He's going to be out the whole 2025 season. So, like I said, some interesting news. What's this one? I don't know. Some interesting news coming out the NFL. Huge first week of March. Super interesting to see. Super happy that the NFL is still remaining relevant. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the sport. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.